Welcome back to WIM Makes. In this episode, we're going to learn a new tool and learn how to make somebody invisible. In previous makes, we used the pen tool and the creation of masks. But in this episode, we're going to take a beginner's look at using the Roto Brush tool and how it can be used to make people appear invisible. Setup for this effect will mimic prior projects. You'll need to have shot your background without your subject, then the shot of your subject. Ensure that your background is the bottommost layer and that you freeze the frame. For the shot with your subject, you will need to split it at the point which your subject switches from visible to invisible. This typically occurs after some form of trigger. Once you have taken care of this preliminary setup, you are ready to begin. Now, the Roto Brush can be a complex tool which makes understanding it all the more important. You may find this tool on the Tools menu. If you don't have this menu enabled, you may do so by selecting Window from the main menu, then make sure Tools is checked. Alternatively, you can use the shortcut Alt-W. On your Composition panel, make sure to switch Resolution to Full. After you have the tool selected, make sure to open the specific layer you want to work on. This should be the layer in which your subject becomes invisible. For simplicity, I labeled the layer Invisible. Double-click your layer to open it up in the Layer panel. Now, instead of viewing the actual composition, we are seeing only this layer. Again, the Roto Brush tool should be active right now. If it is, you should see a cursor similar to this one, basically a small green circle with a cross in the middle. Using the Roto Brush tool as an actual brush, you will want to, in a couple of simple strokes, draw over your subject. Upon doing so, you will see the Roto Brush allows the easy selection of a specified area, nearly similar to the pen tool. It differs, however, in that it is intuitive, selecting pixels it believes should be together. For this reason, the more contrast there is between your subject and the background, the easier it will be to use this tool. Continue to draw over the area you want to select. If you find your brush is too large or too small, you may hold the Control button. Hold the left mouse button and adjust the size by moving your mouse up or down. If you select more than you want, simply hold down the Alt button, then draw over the unwanted area. This will remove it from the selection. As you are doing this, you will want to avoid using Undo. Repeat as necessary until the current frame has only the subject outlined. After doing so, direct your attention to the timeline for your layer. You should see a yellow square to indicate the current frame, or where the Roto Brush effect started. Hovering over this square, you should with resize cursor. Click and drag to the left or right so that you see a grayed area on the timeline, keeping it to a couple of frames on either side. This grayed area indicates what frames are currently affected by the Roto Brush. Use this to control what frames are affected. If you jump to a frame within the grayed area, you should see the rendering bar, and after a short period of time, you will find that After Effects attempted to predict what areas should be selected for all the frames between the 2 points. Of course, make adjustments as needed. For the best results, it is suggested that you go frame by frame. If you are planning on using the Roto Brush effect over an extended period of time, it is recommended that you break up the effect into multiple segments. Due to the tedious nature of this, we are going to do a quick time hop and take you to the point in which our subject is completely selected using the Roto Brush, and we have reviewed each frame. Now that that's done, we need to pre-compose our invisible layer. Simply right-click the layer, select Pre-Compose, and make sure to select Move All Attributes into the new composition. Allow your machine to do its thing, and your layer should now be a composition. How do we make our subject appear invisible then? The answer is Displacement Map. From your effects and presets, search for Displacement Map. It should be under Distort. Drag and drop the effect onto, and this is important, your background layer. This should bring up the Effect Control panel. From there, we want to make a few changes. Displacement Map layer should be your invisible composition layer. Both User for horizontal and vertical displacement should be set to luminance. Change displacement map behavior to stretch map to fit. Now, going back to the max horizontal and vertical displacement, increase or decrease until the needs fit your personal taste. After that, you have your effect. If you want to be a little bit more advanced, you can use the opacity effect. Make your subject fade into invisibility. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of WIM Makes. We hope that you guys are able to put these techniques to use and create some really awesome projects. Make sure you guys like and subscribe for future content, and stay tuned for more.